Hello everybody, my name is AB and I am the founder of Blender52. I am 36 years old and I live in Cape Town, South Africa, and I want to tell you a story about how and why Blender52 came to be and why it has become such a big and important part of my life. So we can cue the 80s montage of a little kid that's drawing, and that little kid is me. And all I ever wanted to do was draw. I used to draw and draw and draw and draw. And I wouldn't always get it right. Sometimes I'd get frustrated and angry, but I never stopped. And when it came time to leave school and to choose a career path, there was literally no other choice in my mind than the graphic arts. I guess I'm lucky in that I found my passion in life so early, but it's really all I've ever wanted to do. So off I go to university, and this is at a time before computers. Before computers were a part of the graphic design syllabus, which is pretty crazy when you think that it's actually only 20 years ago. So every project we did it by hand, whether it was lettering or packaging. We did it all with a paintbrush and a pen. And I actually consider myself really lucky to be a part of the last of the old guard that got to learn in that way, as I believe it separates me in a lot of ways from the people that followed, who went straight into computers. And we maybe touched on computers right at the end of my degree, but it was on these antiquated machines with outdated software, and it was terrible. But anyway, cue a few years forward, and I've traveled a bit and had a few different jobs, and I've kind of landed a job where I've decided, okay, this is my career path, and I've been at it for a while. And I decided, okay, it's time for me to up my game. It's time for me to add another arrow to my quiver. And how will I do this? And the idea hits me of 3D. And that's the golden moment. That's when it happens. That's when I discover this program that would change everything. That's when I discovered 3D Studio Max. So I boot up into 3D Studio Max, and everything about it is pretty terrible. It was an old version, it was an old outdated version, as that's all I could get my hands on. And it was janky and confusing, and I didn't know how to work it properly. And there wasn't really much resource available for me to learn. This is at a time before YouTube really existed as we know it as today, and at a time before YouTube was the resource platform that it is today. I mean, today you can go out there and find a tutorial on anything, which is just amazing. So anyway, I dabbled in 3D Studio Max for a bit, and ultimately the disconnect between myself and the program, and the ability, or I guess the willingness to learn at the time, resulted in me ultimately dropping it. The dream ended, and that was the end of my journey in 3D. Cue about 2 years forward, and it's time to set my annual New Year's resolutions. Now, I love New Year's resolutions. It's like my thing. Every year I set myself some New Year's resolutions, and I stick to them no matter what. I am an extremely goal driven person, and I get stuff done. And at the end of 2018, I set myself the goal to get back into 3D. You see, I discovered this little free program that I was able to put onto my work computer without worrying about licensing issues. And that little program was called Blender. And so I did what most people do. I did the Andrew Price donut tutorial. And from there, I kind of looked around me and I went, well, what's next? And looked at my desk and I thought, okay, well, why don't I try and model my desk? And I'll actually link that image in the comments below, as it actually turned out pretty well considering how little I actually knew and how much I kind of hacked it all together. I guess the topology behind it would be rather nightmarish compared to how it actually looks. And if I were to revisit it today, I'm sure a lot of it would change for the better. But anyway, so at the end of 2018, it comes time to set my New Year's resolutions. And I think to myself, okay, well, what if I make 52 renders over the 52 weeks of the year? It'll be a great way for me to learn. Every week, I decided I was going to try something a little bit different, whether it was a different technique, a different style, or a different idea or concept. I would try and learn as much as possible over the 52 weeks. And so I drew up for myself the list of prompts. And the reason I set out those prompts was so that I wouldn't have an excuse of, I don't know what to do next. The list was there, and every week I could see what was coming and I knew what would be next, and it allowed me to stick to it. And I'm actually really proud to say that in 2019 I completed all 52 prompts over the 52 weeks. And so for the guys that did it this last year, 2020 past, I can only say congratulations. I know how grueling it can get towards the end, and you definitely start hating it on it a little bit. And I think that's more just a case of, we don't want to do things when it feels like it's being forced on us. We are at our happiest and most creative when we feel like we are in an environment that promotes it. So anyway, the first prompt of Blender52 in 2019 was loop. And so I set out to create a render, and I think I actually created 3 or 4 for that first week. You can tell I was obviously excited, and I put it out there, sent it out on Twitter, and I called it hashtag Blender52. And the next thing I know, Andrew Price retweets it. And that's where it kind of just snowballs. He retweeted it, and then loads of other people retweeted it, and I think like Gleb or Zach might have retweeted it as well. And next thing I know, I've got people all over the world that are showing interest in this little project that I've created. And one of the coolest things was when a guy in China reproduced the theme list in Mandarin. And that's when I knew I was onto something. That this project could be more than just a way for me to learn 3D. It could also be the start of something that would allow me to give back. I believe that I've been incredibly lucky to have been born with talent, and I am very happy to give some of that back in helping others. And like I can remember the first time that I got featured on the Blender community page on Instagram. It was a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, I've made it. I've been re-Instagrammed, and I told my friends and I told my family and showed my wife, and it was all very exciting. And today, when I've put people's artwork up on the Blender52 page, I can see that same excitement from them. and you know, I can see their loved ones come on and comment about how proud they are of them, and that really is just such a truly soul touching experience to know that you are having an impact on other people. And ultimately, that is what keeps me going in terms of building the Blender52 community. I won't lie, it takes a lot of my time. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort. The continual updates, the jams, the events, the competitions, you know, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, the website. It's continual work. And at times it can get in the way, considering that I do have a full-time job and a family and other interests, but it keeps going because I know how much it means to you, and the fact that it means so much to you makes it mean that little bit more to me. And I know that Blender52 is only going to get better. I've already got some really cool things lined up. Some potentially very big partnerships that should surface during the course of this year. And you know, like I can't wait to see it grow, and I can't wait to see where it will go next. It's my baby, and I love to take care of it, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any ideas or comments or suggestions that you think would make it better, like, please let me know. Like, that's what this community is about. It's about feedback, it's about a dialogue, and it's about building something together that can benefit everybody. So yeah, that's just the little story of how Blender52 basically came to be and why it continues to run the way it does. And you can look forward to more of these videos in the future. I hope you come along on this journey with me. I know this video format is a little bit different. I think we're all going to take a little while to get used to it, and I think when I look back at it on a year's time, I'll probably think it's the worst thing ever. But it is what it is. Enjoy it. Cheers.